This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, it doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, yes. And another yes, please, because it does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, today is Thursday, April the 23rd of 2026, and we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
Yes, infiltration and Radio Big is some of the stuff that we get to do around here. There is no doubt about that. Anyways, how have you been? How are things? Because it's always interesting as we are hanging out inside of the world. No, seriously, it's very interesting as we get to do some of the stuff. So some people call Thursday Friday Junior, which I think is the dumbest stuff that I've heard in a long time, but we'll leave that for a different day. But how have you been? How are things with you? I mean, I want to make sure that you are not living for the weekend. And when I say that out loud, I want you to think about this. If the most interesting thing you have going on the whole week is that the weekend is around the corner and you don't like what you're doing, more than likely your job sucks and you probably need to find something else. Let's just be realistic. I would hate to do that, but we need to find stuff that we enjoy. That's always something that I do like to reference because I think it's important. But outside of that, let's talk about what we do here. We talk about safety and we talk about the news. We talk about safety in the news. We do that. And then we bring in some professional broadcasters. They come in, they talk about what the hell's going on inside of the world. I come back, I give you some level of a main story. And inside of that, we're just having some fun. We're just poking the bear because that's what we do. We poke the bear. That's the fun part about this show. And then if you want to interact with the show, callinradio.com. I kind of try to take a look around at what the hell you have going on because I think it's always important to do that as we are going through. And then as we're looking around and going, okay, you did this, I did that, let's do another. And then we kind of just go from there. We go, yeah, it's a fun time. And that's it. Seriously. Callinradio.com once you get their audio, video, and text messaging. Our show is a podcast and a radio show, but it's really a radio show that goes into a podcast that goes into a video stream, which becomes a cluster for some. But that's okay. Because that's kind of what we do. We are clusterful by choice. So our first hour is simulcast on safetyfm.com and radiobig.fm. And then we're everywhere else at the same time, too. So we are on iHeartRadio. We're on Odyssey. We're on Live 365. You name it, we're probably there one way, shape, or form. We are on all kinds of video streamers. Now, the first hour of this thing is actually dropped into a podcast at 8 o'clock Eastern time, immediately. I mean, like the first hour, once it's done, it almost drops immediately into it. And then hour 2 and 3, we do exclusively on radiobig.fm. That's radiobig.fm. So just a little FYI in regards to what the hell's going on. And then I got some stuff. I mean, that's just it. I got some stuff that we talk about, and we kind of go through the whole rig. We go through the whole rig. That's it. So if you're cool with this, I think I'm pretty cool with it as well. I do have my friends from Feature Story News waiting. They want to talk. I want to hear what they have to say, so let's do that.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Stuart Smith. A US Iran ceasefire remains in place on Thursday, but so too does a US naval blockade and Iran's closure of the Strait of Hormuz. All the while, there's no sign of new peace talks. President Donald Trump says there's no time pressure on the Iran ceasefire extension, seemingly leaving it open-ended. Speaking to Fox News, the president denied reports that the extension would be limited to 3 to 5 days. Tony Waterman has more.
The president told Fox News that there is no time frame to end the war in Iran, saying it's not true that he wants to get it over with before the November midterm elections. He had originally said the war would last 4 to 6 weeks. The president also said he believes the ongoing blockade of Iranian ports and ships is causing more damage than dropping bombs, and that will eventually get Tehran back to the negotiating table. Tony Waterman, Washington.
The UK and France have agreed a new $900 million deal to try and stop migrants crossing the English Channel in small boats. It will see more French police trained in riot and crowd control tactics and deployed to the country's northern coastline. The deal would see around $100 million of funding withdrawn by the UK if French authorities don't stop enough migrants making the journey to England via that route. Former UK Independent Chief Inspector of Borders and Immigration, John Vine, isn't convinced.
Are they actually going to get in there and prevent the boats from being launched? And we've also seen from organised crime that they're changing tactics already. They're launching their boats off the coast of Belgium now. There's been quite an increase this year of movements into the channel from the Belgian coast. So, you know, it's all right signing a deal now, but the tactics are changing all the time. The challenges are going to remain.
An envoy to Donald Trump has asked FIFA to replace Iran with Italy at the World Cup. Italy failed to qualify. Iran's involvement is still uncertain, and the move might go some way to repair ties between Rome and Washington, which soured due to the president's verbal attacks on the Pope. Ross Cullen reports.
Paolo Zampolli argued that being a 4-time winner, Italy would have the pedigree to justify a last-minute inclusion in the World Cup. Media reports showed the suggestion as part of a plan to repair ties between the US president and the Italian prime minister after the two fell out over the president's attacks against Pope Leo XIV over the Iran war. Iran says it plans to participate in the tournament, but had stated earlier this month it would only take part if the team's matches could be relocated from the US to Mexico. Choosing Italy would certainly be controversial. Ireland, Poland, Chile and Nigeria are among the teams that also did not qualify for the World Cup. Iran's first match is slated to be against New Zealand on the 16th of June. Ross Cullen, Paris.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, the geopolitics of competing blockades. President Trump continues to insist that he will not lift his naval blockade of the Strait of Hormuz unless Iran guarantees freedom of navigation in the strategic waterway and signs a broader peace agreement. But the Iranians are balking at that and on Wednesday attacked 3 cargo ships in a show of force. Dr. Kamran Matin is a lecturer specialising in Iran at the University of Sussex.
In effect, the United States has imposed a blockade on Iran's blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. It seems that actually this blockade is inflicting quite a lot of pain on Iran economically and strategically. So it might be actually the case that President Trump, knowing this, has decided that there is no reason at this point at least to resume actual kinetic war of bombing Iran, but just maintaining this blockade and waiting for Iranians to come to the table in a more compromising kind of fashion. Whether that works or not, we have to see, because these attacks this morning clearly shows that Iran is trying to resist or reverse this American blockade on its own shipping and ports.
On Wednesday, the Pentagon reportedly warned Congress it could take 6 months to clear the Strait of Mines, suggesting higher oil prices could be with us all for a long while to come. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, a US Iran ceasefire remains in place on Thursday, but so too does a US naval blockade and Iran's closure of the Strait of Hormuz. All the while, there's no sign of new peace talks. The UK and France have agreed a new $900 million deal to try to stop migrants crossing the English Channel in small boats. And 5 people are in critical condition after 2 trains collided head-on in Denmark. That's the latest feature story news. Stuart Smith reporting.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
You ever hit the wall, burnout, stressed, or just feeling that everything is piling up and thought, yeah, I probably need to talk to someone? The problem is finding the therapist who actually takes your insurance feels impossible at times. That's where Rula comes in. Rula is a healthcare company that makes mental health care easy to access and actually affordable. They partner with over 100 insurance plans, so the average copay is about $15 a session, sometimes even less. With Rula, you get matched with the right therapist for you, not just whoever's available. Their network has over 15,000 licensed professionals, and you can book an appointment as soon as tomorrow. No wait list, no frustrations, just therapy that works with your schedule and your insurance. Thousands of people are already using Rula to get affordable, high-quality therapy that actually covered by insurance. Visit Rula.com/safetyfm to get started. After you sign up, you'll be asked how you heard about them. Please support our show and let them know that we sent you there. That's RULA.com/safetyfm. You deserve mental health care that works with you, not against your budget. Go to Rula.com RULA.com/safetyfm right now to get started. That's RULA.com/safetyfm, because you deserve mental health care that works with you, not against your budget.
This is the radio show making your day 92% better. They measured.
Here is another bit for our competitors to copy. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it, and apparently pick the right screen as we are going through the whole thing of what we're talking about. So let's get into some of the information that is going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that is kind of what we do around here. So where do we want to start? Because I always get kind of thrown off by some of this, but take a listen to this. A guy robbed a Red Roof Inn in Columbus, Ohio. As he was heading out the door, he thanked the clerk. The man got away with some cash. Take a listen to this.
How you doing? Show the bag up. Show it up. All right, show it up. Come on. Thank you. I'm good, thank you.
So, yeah, he thanked him on the way out. That's kind of the weirdest thing. So, I just robbed you, and thank you. Thank you for being so kind, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Gets kind of weird when it comes to some of this stuff as we are talking. So, it didn't know. Okay, so where do we want to start? Let's get into some of the interesting stuff. Grindr is hosting the first ever White House Correspondents' Dinner's weekend party tomorrow. I'm not joking as I say this. So let's see. The night before the annual WHCA dinner, the event aims to bring together journalists, policymakers, LGBTQ community leaders to toast the First Amendment, according to the invitation sent by Grindr's head of global government affairs, Joe Hack. Hack is said that the app represents the global community with real stakes in Washington. Citing issues like HIV funding, digital privacy, and LGBTQ human rights. He added that the WHCD weekend is the perfect place for connection. There is no confirmation yet whether the openly gay members of the Trump administration, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, or former Kennedy Center President Rick Greno will attend the Grindr event. President Trump is scheduled to attend the WHCA dinner itself as an honoree. So there you go. Grindr hosting a correspondence dinner feels like the most unexpected crossover since peanut butter and met pickles. So there you go. What do you think here? I mean, I'm just asking. I like to ask these questions because it's an interesting one. So here you go. I got something for you. If you want to go to call-in radio, I always like to see when we talk about some of these things, but I want you to hear this. Here's something that might surprise a lot of guys and maybe bruise a few gym bros' egos as well. A new survey found that 61% of women say that men who can talk about his feelings is more appealing than a man with a six-pack. Not as appealing. Not almost as appealing, but more appealing. And the reason is pretty simple. When women say emotional availability is what actually makes them feel connected, safe, and understood, a six-pack might turn heads, but a man who can communicate, that's the one who keeps the relationship alive. The survey even found that the women associate emotional openness with maturity, trust, and long-term potential. Things that matter way more than abs that will last them until the next cheat day. So this raises the question, especially for the ladies listening right now. Is this true for you? Would you rather have a guy who is emotionally open or a guy who's physically perfect but emotionally shut down? Ladies, let's have the ladies. What's more attractive in real life, according to you? A man's abs or a man who can actually talk about what's going on inside of his heart? I would love to hear more about this. Go to callinradio.com because it's always interesting to me when this weirdness stuff occurs. Because, listen, this is something that we don't normally talk about here, but I like to open the lines and just kind of see what people are putting in the box over here inside of the chatter-atter, because it definitely makes it some interesting times as we are talking. So let's continue going down the path here and do some other things that are going on. So Los Angeles County Medical Examiner has released an autopsy results of a 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez 2 days after the singer David Anthony Burke was charged with her murder. The report states that she died from multiple penetrating injuries and was dismembered, ruling her death a homicide. Toxicology showed that alcohol and possible drugs in her system, though some results were inconclusive. Riva remains were found in a bag inside of a trunk, and it's really the frunk of a Tesla registered to Burke in 2025 around September. Prosecutors allege that Burke killed her in April of 2025 to stop her from exposing their illegal relationship, then dismembered her weeks later. He has been charged with murder, continuous sexual abuse of a minor under the age of 14, and unlawful mutilation of human remains. Burke has pleaded not guilty and is being held without bail. If convicted, he faces life in prison or the death penalty, though prosecutors have not yet decided which one they were going to. Now, a couple of things here that I want you to think about. Numero uno. Killed her allegedly in 2025 in April, was not found until September of 2025. Holy shit, is that a long time? That's 5 months. And then there is a reference piece. Why is this thing going crazy? There is a reference piece inside of there of unlawful mutilation of human remains. I'm just asking because I really do not know this, and I'm not trying to be an asshole here. Is there lawful mutilation of human remains? Like, do you have to be a licensed something to be able to pull that off? And I am seriously asking that because I have no clue. But what an interesting time. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the long run here.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so take a listen to this one. A Shreveport man has been charged with federal connection with Sunday's mass shooting that left 8 children dead. This is not a joke, as I say that. Not for killing themselves, but for lying about the gun he used in the attack. Federal prosecutors say that Charles Ford, 56, falsely told agents that he didn't own the rifle used by 31-year-old Shamar Elkins, who killed 8 children between the ages of 3 and 11. 7 believed to be his own. Investigators say that Ford later admitted that the rifle was his and that he kept it under the seat of his truck. He claimed that he noticed it was missing around March the 9th. But backed off when Elkins became offensive after being confronted. Elkins, a veteran of the Louisiana Army National Guard, was killed in a shootout with police on Sunday. Ford is now charged with making false statements to federal agents and being a felon in possession of a firearm. I don't understand some of these things sometimes. I know that people say honesty is the best policy, and then people go, no, it's not. No, apparently it is, because listen, if you're going through something like this, and you got the feds asking you something, you might want to be honest, especially if you start thinking about something that could be that you could be arrested immediately for giving false information. Just something to think about as we are talking. What do you think here? I mean, and killing 8 children? I mean, this is crazy in regards of talking about that as we are talking. So let's talk about some of this stuff, because this is some of the stuff that we're involved in, and not so much the sleeping part, but the other portion. Bosman, Montana had an unexpected tourist this week, a full-grown moose who decided to take himself into a sightseeing tour around town. A Montana State University student spotted him first running across a vacant lot right past the real estate sign that her dad had posted. He joked that the moose clearly approved of the property. The moose wandered all over Bosman through the morning and eventually plopped down for a nap in front of, and this is not a joke, the Moose 94.7 radio station. Perfect branding, zero effort. Wildlife officials said that the report got the report but didn't intervene because the moose wasn't causing trouble or blocking traffic. They added that moose sightings in that town aren't common. It's not unheard of. But sometimes they just wandered through and move on. The moose took a nap in front of the Moose 94.7, and finally, the listeners who don't change the station. So there you go. What do you think? Here's another one for you. A Chinese family used AI to create a digital clone of a deceased man so his 40-year-old mother, who suffers from heart disease, could continue believing that he was alive. Sparking a massive ethical debate online, the family in Shandao, China, secretly commissioned an AI developer to build a hyper-realistic digital version of their son after he died in a car accident. The mother, who is in her 80s, has serious heart issues and was never told about his death. Instead, she now speaks to an AI avatar of him, though through daily phone video calls, better saying, believing that he's simply working in another city. The AI clone looks, sounds, and even behaves like her son, mimicking his dialect, speech pattern, and signature habits of leaning forward when he talks. The family provided hundreds of photos, videos, and audio clips to the AI team, and who reconstructed the man so convincingly that the mother urges him to eat well and stay warm, while the AI responds with gentle reassurance and promises to visit when work slows down. The story exploded across Chinese social media, dividing the public. Supporters say that the family acted out of compassion, trying to protect the elderly woman from devastating grief. Critics argue that she deserves the truth and that using AI to impersonate the dead crosses a moral line, especially if deception is ever uncovered. So here's my question to you. If this story is hitting the media, will this person not know about this now? It's a question, because that's the weird one. I mean, I would imagine that they would eventually find out that this is going on. One would have that assumption. Okay, so take a listen to this. A popular MAGA influencer who gained millions of followers by posting patriotic bikini-clad gun shooting, beer-drinking content has been revealed to be an AI creation run by a 22-year-old medical student in India. The student, identified only as Sam, created the fictional persona Emily Hart using AI tools, including Google Gemini and Grok. He said that he is looking for a way to make money while putting himself through medical school and saving up to eventually move to the U.S. Gemini reportedly suggested that a conservative-leaning audience might be more loyal and have higher disposable income, so Sam built Emily Hart, a hot, patriotic nurse with strong political opinions. Her posts featuring rifles, ice fishing, and bold one-liners quickly went viral. Within a month, she had 10,000 followers. Her reels were pulling in millions of views. Sam monetized the character by selling themed merchandise and launching a fan view account where subscribers paid AI-generated images. He said that he spent less than an hour a day running the account, but made far more money than he could ever earn in India as a student. Expert told Wired that the AI has made fake personas far more convincing than easier to scale. Sam admitted that he tried creating a liberal version of Emily, but said that the audience didn't engage in the AI-generated content the same way. Despite the financial success, Sam openly mocked the followers who believed that Emily was real. Instagram eventually removed the account for fraudulent activity, and Facebook appears to have taken down the remaining profiles after the story broke. Sam says that he doesn't feel like he scammed anyone and plans to focus on finishing their medical school. Imagine finding out that your bikini girl that you've been flirting with is actually a med student named Sam. I mean, this is no different to me, to some extent, to how people used to live in those 900 numbers back in my younger days, where all of a sudden it was like, oh, I need to listen to that
flirty voice on the phone. Hey, baby, how are you doing?
That kind of weird stuff that happened back in the day. So there you go. I do not know. It's just kind of a weird thing when we start talking about it. So what do you think? So there you go. Okay, so take a listen to this. An 87-year-old man who inhaled heavy wildfire smoke showed up at an ER struggling to breathe. The doctor discovered thick black branch-shaped plugs clogging his airwaves, a rare condition called plastic bronchitis. Yes, I did say plastic bronchitis. According to the case report, the man had dangerously low oxygen levels and could only take shallow breaths. So let's see. A bronchial cast, rubbery tree branch-like plugs made of mucus and cellular debris that form when a lymphatic fluid leaks into your lungs. This was the issue that he was having. Plastic bronchitis is extremely rare, usually linked to congenital heart disease or lymphatic flow disorder. Symptoms often mimic asthma, which can delay diagnosis in severe cases and even lead to respiratory failure. Doctors removed the cast and treated the underlying issues. The man spent a week in the hospital battling pneumonia, but recovered well. And by his 2-week follow-up, his breathing had returned to normal. I mean, what the hell, dude? That sounds terrible. So there you go. There you go. What do you think here? A lot of stuff going on inside of the world here, no doubt about that. So there you go. So take a listen to this. Here's something that says a lot about where your relationship is in 2026. Duh. A new survey found that a number one things that people want from their partner at night isn't romance. It isn't a deep conversation. Isn't watching a show together. It's simply a calm, device-free wind down. No phones, no scrolling, no doom spiraling through TikTok until midnight, just being in the same room, present, relaxed, and actually connected. More than half of the people say that the last 30 minutes of the day set the tone for the entire relationship. When both partners put their phones down, the energy shifts. The room gets quieter, conversations get softer, and people feel more emotionally safe. It's like the relationship finally gets a moment to breathe. And here's the part that really hits. Most people say that they don't need anything fancy at night. They just want to feel like their partner is with them, not competing with a screen. So what do you think here? No, this is a serious question. What do you think here? I'm just asking. So there you go. How do you feel at night? Is this something that's important to you or not? Let me give you one more. A McDonald's in California has been open more than 50 years without ever serving a single customer because it isn't a real restaurant. Built in the 1978, it is the city of industry. The location is actually a full-scale McDonald's filming set used for thousands of commercials. It looks authentic from the outside, but it's surrounded by a 10-foot fence. Has movable trees, rotating signage, higher ceilings for lighting, and dressing rooms inside. The mock restaurant has a fully stocked kitchen and could operate like a real McDonald's, but its only purpose is production, giving the company a place to film without shutting down an actual franchise. So what do you think here? Oh, sounds like a simulation to me. Okay, so there you go. Okay, with that being said, 32 minutes past the top of the hour, and that seems to be the sweet spot.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Yeah, I call it the sweet spot because that's just really when we seem to always do this. So it is time to do the main story. And today we're going to mix two concepts that should sound like they belong in completely different universes. But there's an intention behind this. On one hand, we're going to talk about the rigid, highly technical corporate HR procedure. And on the other hand, we're going to talk about the pure, unadulterated human emotion. So let's start with the technical side first, because it is the high reliability organization. Think nuclear power, aerospace, heavy manufacturing, or the Department of Energy. There is a formal mechanism built in the system called DPO. Let's try that again. DPO, a differing professional opinion. If you aren't familiar with DPO, let me explain it. It is supposed to be the ultimate safety valve. Let me try that again. The ultimate safety valve. It is the big red emergency button for the corporate matrix. When management decides to push forward with a project, a design, or a procedural change, and workers or even engineers look at the data and say, holy shit, this is dangerous, and you guys are making a massive mistake, they can file a DPO. It is a formalized document way to put your foot down and officially say, I completely disagree with the technical direction of this company, and I am putting my dissent on record. Not joking as I'm talking about this. Corporate America absolutely loves to brag about their DPO process. They put it on their shiny posters in the break room. They mention it in every town hall meeting. We welcome pushback. We want your dissenting views, and then safety in our number one priority. They sell the DPO as a purely logical, data-driven system, just numbers, facts, and risk matrices. But we don't live on a poster, or do we? I mean, who knows? We live in the black iron prison. And in the real world, systems are run by human beings, and humans beings have egos. I don't know if you've noticed this. Extremely fragile, massive egos. This brings us to the second concept. The legendary poet Maya Angelou once said something that should be mandatory reading for every single person who holds a leadership title. She said, "People will forget what you said. People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." You might be asking, what in the hell is going on? And what does this quote about feelings have to do with anything with filing highly technical, differentiating professional opinions on a 480-volt electrical redesign? It has everything to do with it. And let me explain. Because this is the exact point where safety systems violently collides with human nature. And let's paint a picture for a moment. Let's say that you are a senior operator and you file a DPO. You hit the send on an email, and they officially tell the plant manager, the director of engineering, and the VP of operations that their initiative fundamentally flawed and is getting people put into risk. What happens next? Well, management will process the DPO by the book. They will follow the HR steps. That is what they tell you. That's what they tell you they did. And they will send you a sterile corporate speak email thank you for your quote, unquote, valuable input. And that's what they said. But let's talk about how they make you feel. You walk into a morning production meeting the next day. The plant manager is in the head of the table. He doesn't yell at you. He doesn't fire you, but he doesn't look at you either. When you speak up about the routine issues, you get the short clipped answer. You get the passive aggressive sigh. You notice the eye roll exchange between the director and the VP, and suddenly you aren't copied on email threads for the project anymore. When the group goes out to grab lunch, your invite magically gets lost. When it's time to hand out the overtime shifts or premium assignments, somehow your name slips to the bottom of the list. Management checked the legal box. They officially welcomed your dissenting opinion, but the rated R truth here, they took it personal. They definitely took it personally. Their ego took a hit when, you challenge their authority on record, and then you're making a damn sure that they know it. They made you feel like a traitor. They made you feel like you're a troublemaker. They made you feel like you're liability to the team. And remember the quote, you will forget the email they sent. You will forget the HR meeting. And you will never, ever forget how they made you feel in the room. And here is the catastrophic part about the whole thing. The part that actually gets people killed in complex systems. You are not the only one who remembers how they made you feel. The entire floor is watching. Every single worker in the facility is paying attention to what is happening to the guy who pushed the big red button. Duh. When you go back to the tool crib, your crew is going to ask, the DPO process, how it went, right? And you are going to look at them and say, yeah, they followed the paperwork, but I'm officially on the shit list now. My career here is basically dead. Do you ever file one of those things? In that single conversation, the DPO process just transformed to a safety valve into a radioactive button. In that single moment, psychological safety is completely obliterated. And the signal, well, it's dead. Because the next time critical flaw is noticed, the next time the system is drifting towards a catastrophic failure, nobody is going to say a damn word. They aren't going to file the paperwork. They are going to keep their mouth shut. Keep that in your mind. Keep your head down, and let's get the hazard grow in the dark. Why? Because they remember how management made the last guy feel, or the last gal feel. When leadership allows their bruised egos to dictate their reaction to dissenting information. They're actively engaging in conduct that is detrimental to the team. So how do we fix this? How do you lead through the bruised ego? If you are a manager, a director, or a safety professional, you have to wake the fuck up and realize that that the way you handle pushback is defining metric of your culture. You have to separate your fragile ego from the physical data. When someone files a DPO against your decision, your natural human instinct is going to be defensive. You are going to want to fight back. You are going to feel insulted is really what it's going to boil down to. You have to deploy what we call here JKD or Jeet Kune Do. You have to strip away the useless emotion. You cannot just follow the HR steps and send a sterile email. You have to actively and intentionally go out of your way to make the worker feel valued. You have to walk out on the floor, you shake their hand, and you look them dead in the eye in front of their peers and say, I received your DPO. I know it takes a massive amount of guts, some people might even say balls, to put your name on a document telling me I'm wrong. And I respect the hell out of you for doing so. And we are going to review the data together. You don't ice them out of a meeting. You don't put them closer to the center of the project. Matter of fact, you pull them closer to the center of the project. You ask for their input. You have to make them feel secure. You have to make them feel respected. You have to make them feel like their voice is the most vital asset inside of the entire facility. Because when you make the worker feel secure for disagreeing with you, you just built an unbreakable reporting culture. You just proved to the entire floor that poster on the wall are not bullshit. People will forget the policies. They will forget the procedures. They will forget safety slogans, but they will never forget how you made them feel when they told you something that you didn't want to hear. So look around your organization. Look at the people who push back. Look at the dissenters, if you may, and how they are treated. Are they respected or are they isolated? Are you silencing the signal because your ego is too bruised? Think about that. Stop managing the paperwork and start managing the reality. Make people feel like they're truly what they have to say actually matters. Because sometimes we tend to forget these things and how important they are. We don't have to always agree, but man, do we have to listen.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You're listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
This isn't a safety manual. It's a transmission. Jay Allen, PhD, host of the Rated R Safety Show and founder of Safety FM, has spent years pulling back the curtain on the systems we work in and the ones we don't talk about. What started as a fatal crash on the 405 became a search for truth. Through behavior-based safety, human and organizational performance, simulation theory, and everything in between. Safety, in my opinion, is raw, reflective, and real. From burnout to breakthroughs, from the matrix to the moment someone says, "This doesn't feel right." This book doesn't give you answers. It hands you the signal. Safety, in my opinion. Available now, wherever books and audiobooks are found.
We are radio. We are sarcasm. We are both combined. Radio Big.
Okay, here we go. Currently, let's see, 45 minutes past the top of the hour. As you and I are hanging out on this lovely Thursday. Yeah, this one right here playing. This is Tommy Wynn. Titled "I'm in Luck." Not a joke. As I say this. So, we always love us some new music around here. This song's titled "I'm in Luck," like I said. It's readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Pandora. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse. We would like to thank Tommy Wynn for allowing us to play this. So there you go. Okay, so let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that is what we do around here. And let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Our Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help, and we want you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com, and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, all kinds of information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-injury, suicide, trauma, and grief support, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. Listen, you go to that website, you take a look around. There is a ton of information on there that can change your life. I don't say that jokingly. They have 24-hour helplines. They have how to connect to resources. You name it, you think of it, there is something available in regards of self-help on there in regards of what needs to be done. You can find help, self-care, events that are taking place, stories, and all other kinds of stuff that happens on that website. I will tell you, I have been a fan for a long period of time of just the stuff that they do inside of that site. There is all kinds of information. TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. So there you go. With that being said, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world of the multiverse. And let's go ahead and talk about this one, if you do not mind. We have an event coming up on July the 13th in good old Orlando, Florida. What's taking place? Well, you can come and hang out with us. We're hanging out in a movie theater that day, not a hotel. Inside of a movie theater, we're going to be talking about reality shifts. Yeah, and what does that mean exactly? Well, we're going to be talking about some behavior-based safety stuff. We're going to be talking about some human and organizational stuff. We're going to be talking about Signal. And then we're going to be watching a documentary because, hey, how in the hell are you going to go into a movie theater and not watch a movie? So we'll be doing that in Orlando. It's on Monday, July the 13th. I'll be hanging out with the likes of Todd Conklin, Nick Weatherly, and I will be there as well. And, of course, you have the opportunity of being there as well if you want to come and hang out with us. All you have to do is scan that little QR code that's on the screen or go to safetyfm.io. That's safetyfm.io. Once you get there, all kinds of information related to what's going on with the event. Listen, it's going to be definitely a different time. People are going, well, why are you doing this on a Monday? Well, this way you can hang out in Orlando over the weekend if you want to. So that's safetyfm.io or scan the QR code that's on the screen. I think it's going to be a good time, us hanging out, and maybe some special surprises as we are doing our stuff. No doubt about that. Anyways, with that being said, I got some John Small waiting in the wing, wanting to talk about what the hell is going on with the Motivation Minute. So let's go ahead and do that right now.
The Motivation Minute. Courtesy of JaceCaseMedical.com. Today's quote was submitted by Samantha. Elon Musk said, when something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor. I love this. I've been involved in some events that fall into this category. It looks like we're not going to be successful in raising the funds for an event, but then it's something that matters to me and to others, so we push forward and we find a way. I've been amazed at the number of times that this has happened. I've been working with the committee on something. Typically, somebody will say something like, well, it looks like we're not going to be able to do this. Usually it's because we're short of funds to do whatever the event is. But then at the 11th hour, in God's perfect timing, something will happen that changes everything. I've had people step up and donate thousands of dollars to revive a community project. Yeah, I've seen it happen. A lot. The Motivation Minute.
This has been the Motivation Minute. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
In Mexico, a deadly shooting at a major tourist pyramid site has shocked the country and raised fresh concern about the reach of violence beyond organized cartel territory.
At least 6 people were killed and several others seriously wounded when a gunman opened fire in a crowded plaza at the famous archaeological site, throwing the region into a tense lockdown as police and federal forces launched a citywide manhunt. Officials say the attack appears to be the work of a lone assailant, not a broad cartel operation. Benjamin Wright reporting.
A Philadelphia police headquarters has been hit by a car that smashed through the front of the building in what the city's police commissioner has called a troubling, deliberate act carried out by a lone driver with no clear public motive.
The vehicle crashed through glass doors and into the lobby, knocking over desks and scattering officers and staff before the driver was subdued and taken into custody without a struggle. At least 3 officers and 1 civilian were injured, but none of the wounds are reported as life-threatening. Lawrence Keller reporting.
American Airlines and Air Canada narrowly avoided a serious mid-air collision Tuesday when one of their passenger jets came within about 350 feet of another plane in busy airspace near New York's John F. Kennedy International Airport.
The close call happened during a crowded evening departure window, as both flights were climbing through low cloud and moderate traffic, and the onboard warning systems triggered alerts seconds before the aircraft would have intersected. Jessica Oakley reporting.
In Europe, the European Union is unveiling a package of emergency measures to stabilize energy markets and shield households and businesses from the latest surge in fuel prices.
The plan includes short-term subsidies for vulnerable families, temporary price caps on gas and electricity, and a push to fast-track renewable projects and storage capacity across member states. European leaders say the moves are meant to cushion the impact without locking in fossil fuel dependence. Gary Beck reporting.
New U.S. and Iranian officials have now extended their ceasefire indefinitely, even as Iran continues to test international waters with new military actions in the Strait of Hormuz amid fragile peace talks in Islamabad.
The latest round of talks has struggled to take off, with Iran's military parading a large apparent ballistic missile in Tehran, while the United States insists on a unified proposal from Tehran before any real deal can move forward. Diplomats from both sides say they are still far apart on core security issues, Chris Anderson reporting.
Across the American South and Midwest, a wave of severe storms has brought damaging tornadoes, hail, and heavy rain that have knocked out power to hundreds of thousands of homes and businesses.
The strongest twister touched down early Wednesday in a rural county, carving a path through fields and small neighborhoods and flipping trucks and farm equipment as it moved across the landscape. Emergency crews have reported at least a handful of serious injuries. Kyle Norris reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
In order to save the planet from cow farts, why doesn't someone just invent really large gas X pills?
God, what's that awful stench? Radio Big.
Okay, so let's continue talking about some things that happened back on this date. Back in 1985, like they say, controversy creates cash. New Coke debuts, and also Coca-Cola announced it's changing the secret flavor formula, so people were not extremely happy. Back in 1989, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar plays his last game for the Los Angeles Lakers. In 1995, Bill Clinton declares a national day of mourning for the Oklahoma City bombing victims. Also in 2005, the first video is uploaded, or was uploaded, to YouTube. And then in 2009, the iTunes Music Store reached 1 billion applications downloaded. 1 billion with a B, just in case. Let's talk about some celebrity birthdays going on today. Lee Majors turns 87. Joyce DeWitt, 77. Michael Moore turns 72 today. George Lopez turns 65. John Cena, yep, he turns 49 today. Cal Penn turns 49. Gigi Hadid turns 31. So there you go. There's some birthdays that are going on for you in case you were wondering what exactly is going on out there in the world of the multiverse. So let me tell you this real quick before I forget. At the top of the hour, I will... Oh, no, yep. Now, should I tell you this now? Or should... Yeah, let me tell you. At the top of the hour, I'm going over to Radio Big. If you want to come and hang out with me, you're more than welcome on doing so. If not, you can stay right here with the likes of Sheldon Primus. Just a little reference portion. Over there, I will be talking about the world of music and entertainment if you want to come and hang out. If you don't, that's perfectly fine because Sheldon Primus will be talking about the world of safety consulting. Before we go over there, let's talk about some things that you ought to know. The White House is publicly taking credit for a major new investment by Anheuser-Busch. The company announced that it will spend over $600 million over the next 2 years to upgrade U.S. operations, according to reports from Fox Business. The money will go towards training workers, expanding brewery capacities, and boosting efforts to hire military veterans. The administration highlighted the announcement as evidence of strong U.S. manufacturing and business confidence. So there you go. Duh. Also, United Airlines will bump fees 15 to 20% this summer. It's the busiest season, letting travelers foot the bill for the airline jet fuel costs that have doubled as a result of the Iran war. The decision was made as travelers have shown that they are still willing to pay top dollar to fly. The United Airlines CEO Scott Derby said that on CNBC yesterday. Also, in some other news, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth fired U.S. Secretary of Navy John C. Flynn amid President Trump's ongoing conflict with Iran centered on the Strait. Flynn was removed yesterday after a dispute over Trump's push to rapidly build a new Golden Fleet. So there you go. On a military vessels, a source told the New York Post that the administration wanted to accelerate the shipbuilding to match the president's agenda, but believed that John wasn't able to deliver and wasn't well liked. The firing comes as tensions remain high around the strait, a key point of the broader U.S. Iran confrontation. So there you go. Anyways, there you go. Let me give you some words of wisdom for today. You don't have to attend every argument. You're just invited. And if you need some words of advice, put lemon slices in your water. It keeps you hydrated and it boosts your mood. Some things to think about. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios. as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.